Hey, stranger.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. Good to be back.
It's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
I see you're in a dark room at the moment.
Doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders. I guess we'll get right into it. How you feeling?
Good.
Feeling better?
Feeling much better.
I'll tell you, you look and sound a hell of a lot better than you did a month and a half ago.
Yeah, when I was in rehab.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
in
when
the hospital and everything.
when I was in the hospital. Yeah,
You stressed us out, man.
I stressed myself out.
Clearly.
Thanks for helping take care of me.
Hey,
Oh,
absolutely.
my feet, literally.
We got to get you had to get you back to normal, and you're well on your way.
Thank you.
So rehab and everything's going well.
Yeah, rehabbing at home now.
Right on.
That's nice.
Right on.
Shout out to the fam for taking care of me.
The fam's taking care of you,
Yeah, including you.
including me. I'm doing what I can.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
We've all got Hurts making his appearance. We've all got our busy lives going on, but we got to make sure that the one and only Cappy is taken care of.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It's
Um,
nice to get back to the golf course yesterday and see some people and feel like I'm getting close to getting back to work maybe at some point temporarily,
yeah,
at least slowly.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I mean, if we're looking at any positive in the situation, it happened at a good time, right at the end of the hockey season, and rehab over the summer. You should be good to go by fall for the start of the new season.
I would hope so.
You're well on your way, I think.
I think so too.
Are you able to catch any of the highlights of the last couple of games that you missed?
A little bit,
Yeah.
a little
Um,
bit. Not as much as I wasn't as um, mentally with it then to pay attention to what I was seeing. It was kind of hard to follow the game on the TV screen. My
yeah.
brain, my brain wasn't functioning very well at that moment, but
Are we sure that wasn't just because Medicine's so damn fast?
yeah, that could be. That could be. They're pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, even in the Memorial Cup, I thought they looked pretty good too.
They did.
But couldn't get over London. They were just kind of the powerhouse in the CHL this year.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
okay.
but a good season nonetheless. And now we got
Great season for
all.
the Chiefs.
I mean, just a fantastic season overall. I can't you definitely blew expectations way out of the water.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys really stepped up this year, and obviously our top line with Crystal, Catton, and Van Olm just took the reins and ran with it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think I just read something here on that I have pulled up that Crystal is now tied for most goals by a Chief in single playoff season in
Really?
franchise history.
Wow.
21 goals and 41 points.
Wow.
I mean, pretty fun stuff there. And Catton with 42 points in the playoffs as well.
As a
Uh,
youngster.
and here's something else to make it even sweeten the deal a little bit more. Mathis Preston, most playoff points by a Chiefs 16-year-old in franchise history, 9 goals, 7 assists for 16 points. Led to
Wow.
all WHL rookies. Um, I mean, just some really high praise to pretty much the whole team. I mean, I think everybody had a really
Yeah,
really good showing in the playoffs, and
I agree.
um, now that we have the end of the regular season or the end of
Inclu-
the playoffs happened,
yeah, including Dawson Cowan. He had a good showing in the playoffs too.
Cowan was fantastic. Yeah, he really held the Chiefs in there in the
Yeah.
games where they weren't really very defensively minded, I should
Right.
say.
Right.
But I think he took his role and played it well, and got the news today that he's off to University of Omaha next year, so he will
Yeah.
not be back as the Chief for his 20-year-old season.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a little bit of a bummer, but I think it makes the decision for the Chiefs with their 20-year-old situation a lot easier next year too.
Yeah. And it was good for Cowan too.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for him to go to kind of a new spot and maybe try to boost his game a little bit more too while also going to school.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's a really cool opportunity for a lot of these young kids to go and have the ability to jump the ship now too. And obviously, it sucks as junior hockey fans seeing
Right.
some of these high end guys, jumping ship over to NCAA. But at the same time, you got to think that it's they're doing what's best for them, and the
Exactly.
Chiefs haven't really had to deal with that too much as of yet, other than Dawson Cowan. Obviously, Shea Van Nolen, Braden Crampton are going on to NCAA, but they were aged out at the end of this past year, anyways.
Right.
Um, big news though is a lot of the Medicine Hat Tigers
Yes.
are jumping ship over to the NCAA.
That's
Gavin
crazy.
McKenna is currently, I read today from Elliot Friedman that he's toured Penn State and now he's going to Michigan State tomorrow for like a formal tour. And it sounds like
Really.
it's between those two schools for him. So be pretty cool to see him at Penn State with Tri-City Americans defenseman Jackson Smith
Yes.
also hopping over to Penn State, play with Van Olm next year too. So that's a big loss for Tri-City.
Yes, it is.
I was, I mean, you know, you look at these high-end kids that get picked in the first round of the draft. It's like they proved what they can in major junior, and then they jump ship and go over to NCAA to kind of try to increase their game even more to get them to the next level. And I'm a little bit concerned thinking about that with you know, guys like Mathis Preston come next year, you know,
Hmm.
like after he gets selected, like what's he gonna end up doing? I really hope that, you know, the Chiefs organization is enough to keep guys like him around for another year or two after. Uh, when we were watching the draft the other day, when Owen Martin was selected by the Jets, the announcers were talking about how talking a lot about Spokane, actually. We're talking about Brad Lauer and how Brad Lauer was the former assistant coach of the Jets as well. So there's a little bit of a connection there. And he said Spokane's like a professionally run organization. He said that it's one of the top organizations in the CHL. And so I think that probably will have a little bit of a factor in it too. I'm sure that,
I would think so.
and not only that, but you're getting these kids that are you American kids that were going to go play NCAA originally that are now going to come to the CHL first
Right.
for a year or two before they go to college, and so I think that's pretty cool too. That I mean, there's a lot things are changing, but a little bit, but I think it's all going to kind of find its way and even itself out
Yeah, it will.
in the long run. But um, Uh, other than that, there hasn't really been too much crazy news since the end of the the postseason. Besides, you know, the those stats from the guys, the Chiefs had the highest combined home attendance in the WHL across the entire regular season and playoffs.
Nice.
Um, 286,302 total Chiefs fans
Good
during the
job, Chiefs
season.
fans.
Pretty cool there. Let's see, what's this? 62,282 combined for playoff games.
Wow.
Second most in franchise history. And then let's see, 29 combined home wins regular season and playoffs, 185 goals scored at home this year.
Nice.
1,642 shots on goal.
Wow.
So some nice little accolades there team wise. Let's see what else we got here. There was Chiefs announcing their season opener really early this year.
Yeah,
I feel like we usually like the earliest we usually play our season openers like the 23rd or 24th of September usually.
usually.
Sitting September 19th at the Kelowna this year. So really early start. So you know the Chiefs played late into May or the middle of May and getting to start here in the middle of September just 3.5 months later. So only had a couple of months before we get to watch some hockey again,
That'll be nice.
especially with the Stanley Cup playoffs ending last week and everything too.
Yeah,
Um, and they play the next night in Kamloops on the 20th, and then the home opener is the 27th of September against Tri-City. Let's see here. Were you following any of the guys that were going to the draft at all or went to the
a,
combine?
a little bit.
See Owen Martin's tests
Yes,
and that stuff too.
pretty
17th
high.
at horizontal jump,
Yeah.
Pro agility left 15th, pro agility right 13th, peak power output ninth. I mean, some pretty good numbers for Marty there at the
Yeah.
combine. I think that that really kind of boosted up his draft stock a little bit because
I think so too.
he got drafted a little bit higher than some other guys that were projected to go, late first round, early second
Hmm.
round. Getting picked in the third round, kind of middle of the pack in the third round by the Jets. So congrats to Marty. I mean, I think it was 20 minutes away from his hometown is
Right.
the Jets rink. So that's pretty cool for him and his family too.
I'm sure.
So that was really cool. I was a little bit surprised watching the rounds 3 through 7 that no other Chiefs were selected.
Yeah, me too.
Dawson Callan's name was thrown out there late.
Yeah.
Um, Sonali Sarkinov, Owen
Marky.
Shetler. Didn't see anything happen with those guys. But they are
I,
attend or Sarky is at least
I,
attending.
I think he's still going to surprise some people.
Sarky?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
I
I
think
agree.
I think he's a hidden gem.
No, I agree completely. And we saw today or yesterday that he's going to the Avs camp with Sage.
Yeah.
So at least he's getting invites to stuff like that. I think he's the kind of player that can really shine at a development camp like that,
Yeah. He'll make the most of it.
without a doubt. Some pretty cool stuff there. I mean, shit, we got lots of hockey. I mean, starting up again soon with all the developmental camps
Yeah.
and everything too. I know the Kraken start, I think, on Thursday or Friday,
Do they?
over in Seattle. Berkeley Catton obviously taking part in that. Dawson Callan is going to the Blue Jackets camp.
Right.
I saw that today. Trying to think of who else. Obviously, Mays is going to Toronto and McIsaac going to St. Louis. I want to say there was one more but I don't know. I don't think all the teams have announced their rosters for that yet either. So I wouldn't be shocked to see, Shetler get
Hmm.
get selected to go do a camp of some sort. So there's that. Um, is there any, oh, but before we get any further, do you want to say anything about the 20-year-olds from this past season or
I
anything
thought they
like
were
that?
extraordinary. I was glad we had the ones we had.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Ras was fantastic.
Yeah. And
Uh,
and clutch in the playoffs too.
Absolutely. I'm a little bit surprised that I haven't seen his name thrown out anywhere yet, to be honest.
He's going to surprise somebody too and be a heck of a pickup, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I know he stayed behind in Spokane for another month or so after the season ended.
And he's got enough people watching out for him too. Everything too.
Oh,
He'll
100%.
he'll find a home somewhere.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he stayed behind with his billets for another month or so after the season and was going to play like pickup at Eagles and stuff and
Right.
all that stuff. I know he just got back home a couple weeks ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that, Spokane made that much of an impact on him too, that he wanted
Yeah.
to stay behind for a little while and everything too. And I mean, Van Olm was great,
Yeah.
just a great locker room guy and a hell of a goal scorer too.
Yeah.
Um, he's obviously going up to Penn State. That's who it was. He's also going to an NHL development camp. He's going to the Ottawa Senators. I saw that today.
Nice.
So I hope he really kind of turned some heads there too, because
Yeah.
I think that that's a guy that could really make some noise too. I mean, maybe not right away at
Nice.
the NHL level,
A
but
nice role player for your team.
100%, yeah. And let's see what else we got here. I think TC is going to be hopping in here momentarily. Oh, good timing. I just was bringing that up.
There he is.
There she
Hey,
is.
boys, sorry it took me so long to get here.
That's all right.
It took me longer to get here than anybody else.
How
All
you doing,
right.
Cappy? Sorry if you guys have already
No,
ran.
you're good. You're
No, I'm
good.
doing
No,
good.
let's do it.
I'm
We'll get
doing
back
good.
into it.
It's good to be back talking to the boys, talking hockey.
Are you in like a really dark room or something?
Yes.
Ah,
Doctor's orders.
hmm.
No, I'm just kidding.
Concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in my the spare bedroom at my mom's house upstairs.
Right on.
The shades are all pulled because I'm trying to keep it cool in here because it's hotter than Hades outside.
Yeah, it's hot as hell out there.
Yeah, you're telling me I just was running 12 little 6 to 4 year old or 4 to 6 year olds around for T-ball, and
Oh,
my son as well as another kid ended up throwing up. So
oh, nice.
yeah,
The heat throw up.
yeah.
Yeah,
Even with like stopping practice every 5, 10 minutes to tell them to go drink water and cool down
yeah.
with their parents, it didn't matter.
Gulping the water when you're ready to puke anyway.
Yeah, and they're little kids. They don't know their limits. So
Exactly.
they're playing hard and the sun doesn't bother them until it does.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
95 degrees today. I mean, that's too hot for a 5-year-old.
yeah, man. And
Oh,
so the Spokane Indians in their infinite wisdom are who run this league, right?
Yeah.
And their policy is you cannot cancel or postpone a game or practice unless it's a heat index of 105 degrees.
really?
Yeah.
That doesn't
So
make much
that's a
sense.
feels like temperature. Um, that's too hot. And I raised an eyebrow at it when we did our coaches meeting because this is my first time ever coaching T-ball. And I don't know. And they were just like, yeah, they said 105 and they said 105 degrees so casually. And it's like that
100,
seems
105 is I mean, 90 is too hot for kids like that for a long
Yes.
period of
yeah.
time.
Yeah. I mean, even if it was like 12-year-olds, I
Yep.
mean, I don't know. But anyway, we don't got to get into that. Or I'm assuming, are we recording right now? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I had
Yep.
no clue if we were or not.
We've only been on for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
We didn't cover too. We just kind of talked about, how he's doing and um some like postseason accolades and stuff.
Yeah.
So pretty much all caught up there. Um
Yeah.
I figured we had enough news and information that we could probably throw an episode up and let people know that we're still alive.
Well,
Uh,
without being too dark, there's really only one guy here that we needed to make sure everybody knew he was still alive. So
this is true. This is true. This is very true. All right, so let's see. We were at. I just have everything scrolling through the Chiefs Facebook page right now
yeah.
because their website hasn't really been updated recently.
Get on that. Not
Well,
you.
I mean, damn, there's so much to talk about. I mean, the you guys already covered accolades, but we've got movement, we've got draft,
Yeah,
we've got Dawson Callan, we've got
yeah. We talked about Cowan. We talked about the guys going to developmental camps, but that's
mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
And then the regular season, first games and everything too. They also announced a preseason game. They're not having it at Eastern this year. It looks like it's going to be at the arena. One
Really?
of the only home preseason game that we have on September 11th at 4 p.m.
Nice.
Against Portland once again. So they only have 5 preseason games. I feel like that's probably about right, but it
Yeah.
seems a little bit. It seems like maybe there's 1 or 2 less preseason games this year. Obviously, with the season starting on the 19th of September,
That little early season tournament they have takes up most of the games usually.
yeah, they have those two in the Everett tournament against
Right.
Seattle on the 5th of September and then Portland on the 6th. Come
Nice.
back and play Portland here on the 11th, and then down in Tri City they have their tournament. They play Seattle on the 12th and Tri on the 13th, and then they
Yeah.
got 6 whole days before they start the regular season. So a pretty short preseason. I'm assuming camp will probably run from like the last weekend in August, like usual, and then they'll have a week off before preseason starts and everything.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard anything officially on when camp is going to start, but that's usually kind of how it all plays out. Let's see here. Oh, one thing that I did want to talk about is they did release the full schedule for next season too. And I did notice that within the first 2 weeks of the season, the Chiefs go on their Eastern trip again, just like
Really.
they did this year. I mean, I truly, I know I talked about it a lot over the past year, but I think that really kind of helped the team build little bit of a chemistry,
Hmm.
going on that trip early. as early on as they have, and they're obviously they're not going as far this year. They're just going to Alberta, but it'll be nice starting on the 14th, the rematch against Medicine Hat of 14th of October. So that will go for a week through the 21st. They finish up in Edmonton before coming back for 2-game, 5-game homestand. So that's pretty good too. I think that's probably going to really benefit them again this year. I mean, who knows when we're going to get our NHL guys back? I mean, Catton obviously is still kind of up in the air,
Right.
but I think more than likely we'll get him back at some point. I just think he'll for sure get his 9 games up with the
I think so.
Kraken, and hopefully we'll be getting Mays back and McIsaac and I mean who knows about Sage either. I mean he's eligible to play in the AHL next year, so I haven't heard really anything with him. But
And I read an article today for anybody that had any sort of teeny tiny bit of optimism that we might get Crystal back. No shot. No
no,
shot.
I read that article too.
Yeah, it's from everything within the Capitals organization. They think so highly of that guy,
Really.
rightfully so. And they've basically all but put the nail in the coffin that if he doesn't somehow break camp with the Caps, he's going to go to Hershey.
Yeah,
Nice.
So he's done. I mean, we can just sign, seal, and deliver that. If he finds himself in a Chiefs sweater this season, likely something went horribly wrong for him. Uh,
yeah,
and I just don't see that happening. So any small bit of optimism that we might be able to run it back with Crystal, I would stop holding our breath because
yeah.
that article was pretty damning that he's not coming back.
Well, and to add on to that, like I talked about it a lot last year that I think the only way that there's any chance of him coming back to Spokane is if they get it if it's kind of an Austin Roos and Everett type situation where he goes up to the AHL, deals with an injury for most of the first half of the season, and then heals up right around the start of the second half for the trade deadline in the WHL, and then maybe that's like the only shot I think is possible. Like if he were to get some sort of an injury early on in the season in the AHL, the NHL, or whatever, if it's a long-term thing, gets sent back right around the trade deadline. That's the only time I can see that ever happening. But then even then, the Chiefs would have to kind of rebuild their roster a little bit around that because he is a 20-year-old too. So you're gonna have to. And that's the other question is, I mean, obviously Cowan's going to University of Omaha next year. So that's one 20-year-old out for sure. You have Sam Oremba, Sage Weinstein's another questionable one we're not sure about. And then I feel like I'm missing one person, but I can't think of who I'm missing. So it would be 06, 05, 05.
Yeah.
All
Feel
right,
old? I think you feel old at 05s or 20.
yeah, it's
I
I feel really old. Yeah. And the kids are
yeah.
coming into the league playing a full year, be born in 09. Like
God,
what?
it's gross. We were like starting high school. Don't like that. Um I have a thought on Sage. If I was the Avalanche, and I mean they're a very well ran organization, obviously you can see just kind of how it's been for them over the last basically their entire existence, really, since they moved from Quebec. I personally would want to probably would want Sage to go back to Spokane, and I'm not just saying that selfishly as a Chiefs fan. I do think that him playing his 20-year-old season here as a leader, likely wearing an A, maybe even the C if Catton doesn't come back.
Yeah.
I think that leadership opportunity would go a lot further here for him than it would be playing 10 or 15 minutes a night in Colorado. I think
Yeah.
their
The
AHL team
Eagles.
is also, yeah, I think their AHL team is also in Colorado. So I would imagine, like, I give it probably like a 75% chance that Weinstein comes back just purely off of logic, really.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Cowan's going to Omaha. Good for him. Don't really know much about that program, but
Mhm.
I mean, good for him. Sucks to see him leave, but I think I miss I know I was a big advocate for this NCAA change. I think I misjudged how it was going to go.
Me too.
Um, I think I don't know how much you guys talked about this before I hopped on, but Chiefs fans and CHL fans in general really just need to start becoming comfortable with the idea
Yes.
that we're going to likely lose a lot of our top 18 and 19-year-olds to the NCAA.
Yeah,
Just
big
going
facts.
forward, I think majority of guys that are still around at 20 are going to be, depth guys that are kind of just hanging in there.
Agreed.
I it sucks because the way I thought this was going to go was that a lot of guys were going to play out their CHL career and then they were going to go to college. But
Yeah, that's how I thought too.
what
Yeah.
it ended up turning into is the colleges just handpicking their favorite best players away from the CHL teams. I mean, you look at Medicine Hat and how McKenna is basically a shoe-in for Michigan State or Penn State. Those are the two schools he's visited.
Hmm.
And but he's kind of a special case because like he doesn't have anything left to prove at this league. Him continuing to score 1,000 points a season doesn't do anything for him. So he needs to go play at that level. He needs to
Not
go
only that, there's also Caden Lindstrom from
him too.
Medicine Hat going to Michigan State, and Ryder Ritchie's going
Yeah.
somewhere as well. So
Yeah. And so again, as Chiefs fans, we got to look at our roster and we have to look at the guys that we have. You think about Mathis Preston, for example. I think he's the biggest candidate in my
yeah,
mind
agreed.
that we need to be comfortable with the idea that this might be it. He's
Yeah.
going to play this season, probably get drafted somewhere in the top 10,
Mhm.
assuming he continues on the same trajectory he's been on. And then he's probably going to go to Michigan or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that sucks. It hurts. College hockey is a bit hard to follow over on this
Yeah.
side of the country,
Part of
but
me, part of me thinks that the CHL also, with this ruling change, they weren't expecting this kind of outcome either.
yeah.
I feel like if they knew that this was going to happen, then they wouldn't have let it go through. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of negotiation at some point with the NCAA about that.
Mhm.
Like you have to, if you're in the CHL already, you have to play 2 years at least, two
Yeah.
or 3 years before, or be 19 before you can make the jump or whatever. I think it's really good for college hockey and hockey in general,
Hmm.
but it sucks for junior hockey fans, especially up in Canada. I mean,
Yeah.
their college hockey up there isn't as widely regarded as NCAA is in the States.
Yeah.
So they have major junior and those small Western Canadian towns like they have the WHL like Calgary Red Deer, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, like those.
Hmm.
I don't know why I said Calgary, but I was gonna say those smaller towns, like that's really all they have up there. And so, they're going to be losing those top end talent. Yeah, it definitely sucks for those franchises and those fans, but I guess we'll have to wait and see with that.
Yeah. Just like anything else, it'll play out over time. This is still really new, and I don't even think the NCAA or the CHL as a whole even knows how to handle it yet.
Yeah,
It's similar to when NIL took off initially in college and for all the sports, specifically football, but for all the sports. And just it was the Wild West. Nobody knew what to do because you had all these schools that were already paying players, but they
right,
were
right.
doing it under the table. And then all of a sudden now it's legal, but with caveats, and everybody just kind of went crazy. And now it's kind of starting to settle. It's to the point now where colleges basically just treat these players as employees. Like
Exactly.
and they pay them like a set like actually like a salary. Any endorsement deal they go out and get out in town from car dealerships or McDonald's or whatever is completely on them. That's on their own, whatever. But they get like a base salary from the school,
Right.
which is probably how it should have been to begin with. But again, the NCAA isn't exactly known for handling things well ever. And
Correct.
this is just another new example of that, of they allow something and then but they don't really put any reins on it. And now it's just going crazy with these colleges are just like, okay, cool. Well, we can just scout whoever we want out of the CHL, and ooh, he's a 110-point scorer. Yoink.
Exactly.
He's a 75-point defenseman that plays 25 minutes a night. Yoink. And just like they can hand pick these guys, and if you're a 18-year-old kid playing or playing junior hockey for a meal stipend, and now you've got NIL dollars and
Yeah.
sorority girls dangling in front of your face.
Yeah, for real.
I I mean,
I know what I'd pick.
yeah, yeah. Unless you just absolutely cannot handle the idea of taking calculus,
Yeah.
like it's an obvious decision where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So it
You
sucks for
you
junior
can't
hockey
fault the
fans.
kids.
You can't fault them, and they're doing what's best for their career because it is probably. I mean, let's face it, majority of the NHL is more east,
Hmm.
whether it's the Midwest or the East Coast or the Southwest, Southeast, whatever. There's more scouts over there. It's harder to get scouts out here. Granted, they have their CHL scouting that just kind of exists out in this region,
Right.
WHL scouts, but it's a lot easier to keep an eye on prospects when they're playing in the Big Ten and all those schools are within 2.5 hours of each other.
Yep.
So it's hard, and it sucks for CHL fans, but it's just something that we're going to have to learn to become comfortable with until more regulations are put on it, which will probably eventually happen.
I think it will too,
Um,
but
but it
um
so yeah, I just want to say that to any Chiefs fan that might be listening to this and might be looking at Cowan leaving and being sad about that, or thinking about the idea of a Preston or whoever
Harrington
else
is another name
or
that comes to my
Harry,
head too.
yeah, and just being like man, that would suck to only get them for 2 or 3 seasons. It's just something we're going to have to grow to be comfortable with, cherish the time you had with them. And it's also going to be imperative for front offices in the CHL to, I mean, if you thought championship windows closed fast before in this
Yeah.
league, I mean, last time we talked, we were talking about like potentially the Chiefs becoming a perennial contender.
Right.
Now, if the CHL can just get all of their players plucked out of them by the NCAA, I mean, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but this might be our last chance this season
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like have another stab at a title because if they haven't restocked the farm and everything we traded to get Crystal and everything else that we did to go on the run this year,
Yeah.
it might be tough to bounce
Yeah.
back, especially if guys like Preston, who we thought we were going to have for until he's 19 or 20, might leave after this season. Doesn't mean
Right.
he will, but he could. And that's just
Right.
something that we all need to know could happen.
For sure.
Kind of rambling right now, but
No, I mean it makes
um,
sense. And it's something that I thought of too.
yeah,
We were talking about the '05 borns. Hypothetically speaking, the only two that we have right now are Sage and Samuel Rempa. So we still have room for one more 20-year-old next year too. If Sage does end up coming back. Obviously, Crystal's gone, Cowan's gone. Um, hasn't really been too much like news trade wise with the Chiefs. I don't really think there anything has really been going through except for that Trevor Connolly going to Penticton or whatever
which
in the
is
expansion draft.
well, like what the hell was that all about?
I'm still a little bit confused by it too. I mean, maybe they've talked to him, but that's another kid that's already playing NCAA. So
Yeah,
it's like, and he's
uh,
19, NHL drafted. So it's like, is that really something that he is going to be wanting to do?
to go move to Penticton, British Columbia.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not bitching because like they didn't really take anything from us.
Right. Right.
So I don't care, but it was a big eyebrow raise. Like, why did they, what was their logic there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless Bardsley and whoever their GM is did some like handshake under the table of like, hey, you take Connolly off our hands and scratch our back, we'll scratch yours down the road.
Right.
I don't know. Like that's just a really weird thing
Yeah.
they did.
But so I wanted to ask with Cowan leaving, what do you guys think we're going to do with our goaltending situation next season? I think Carter Essler is, I don't want to say necessarily too young. I mean, he's going to be 17-year-old. He's still pretty small, 5'11", 159 pounds. I mean, to play a starting role on a WHL team, especially a team that has the chance to be another perennial contender next year, Is that really the goalie that should be is able to do that? Should they acquire another veteran guy?
Yeah, trade for a
I
20.
I think they should too.
Yep.
What do you think, Cap?
I don't think they will, but I think they should. Yes,
Yeah.
I think they're thinking Esla's the guy. I don't know why. I just feel that way.
That's a that's a
Well,
that's a big gamble because if you put all your eggs in that basket,
Right.
we've seen flashes. We know what he's capable of. He's
Right.
extremely talented, but the size aspect
Yes.
and the fact that, you know, he he sat most of last year on the
Yeah. They
bench.
didn't give him the experience at all. Yes.
Yeah, and if you're just gonna like give him the keys to the city,
Yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know. I
I
think he needs a little bit more seasoning.
I agree.
I think that, yeah, but Chiefs
Dad,
have not done that with goaltenders in the past, though. They've been known to just throw them out there.
yeah, Dad, you and I talked about this a little bit today too. I almost feel like maybe this is a situation where you can acquire like a 19-year-old
Right.
goaltender, maybe split 50-50 this season between Essler and this guy or whoever. I think Essler's going to be the starter the following season, his 18-year-old year.
Yeah.
But I think that for this season, especially while he's still, growing and becoming a little bit stronger too, I think that he needs a little bit of something to lean back, someone to lean on. And
Bartley is a smart guy with the NCAA stuff too. I could see him picking up an older goaltender to
that's a
just split,
good, I
to
didn't
split
think
that
about that.
to split that time.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I guess that is possible too.
Also, let's
Um,
not pretend like this Omaha thing was a big surprise. They've known about it for a while.
oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
I
They
heard
probably
I heard a
already,
rumor over a month ago.
yeah, I did too. They probably already had a plan.
Yeah,
They're,
so
they're
I
going to go some direction.
it's going to be interesting to see when come the import draft here soon that see if anything happens with that because so
I didn't think about that.
the import draft I think it's coming up in like a week or two.
Mm.
The Chiefs will have two selections, assuming Sarkinov is still going to be coming back, which I think he is, as last I've heard. Um, Ekstrom's gone, obviously, as a 20. Now you can have three import players on your roster. So
Right.
we get two selections. I'm not 100% sure where our selection is. But I know that you can, as of this year, trade import picks as well.
Right.
So that's another big thing too. Like, could the Chiefs potentially pull another Perique situation and draft a European goaltender?
I wasn't thinking
Um,
about that.
I mean, it worked. The one time that they did it, it worked out great with Perique. Tri-City seems to do it every year, and it always works out well for them. I mean, I don't see why that shouldn't be an option. In all honesty, you can select a guy that goal. There was a ton of goalies drafted in the NHL draft this year. Go out and snag one of those guys and see if they'll come over to play for you.
Yeah,
Just a thought. I mean, I
yeah.
just kind of thought about that as I was talking about it, but um, it's going to be interesting to see what other moves the Chiefs end up making. Like if they acquire another 20-year-old, which I'm assuming they probably will. Um, I think defensively next year, I'm not really that concerned. I'm not as concerned as I have been in years past. A top line hypothetical would probably be McIsaac Weinstein.
Yep.
Fine, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Um, get Owen Shetler to run the top power play unit this year. I think Rhett Sather will probably take a big step up this year too. Nathan Mays, I'm assuming he'll be back for and have a monster year as well on the back end. So defensively, I think we're totally fine. Um, the question is for me is honestly goaltending. But well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see with that. Obviously, it's still pretty early in the off season, um, but yeah, I mean, what do you guys think the Chiefs are gonna end up doing with the import picks? I mean, let me see if I can find where they
I mean,
put.
I really like the idea of a goaltender now that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goaltender and a forward,
yeah, I agree.
because we're losing a lot of scoring touch here. And if we're going to be without Catton for, I don't know, 2 months or a month and a half, assuming he comes back at all, you gotta find that production somewhere. So
Oh,
I don't know.
interesting. Oh, the import draft is on July 2nd.
Okay,
So
there you go.
it's this
Thursday,
week.
Yeah,
Tuesday, or
sweet.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. It says the Chiefs currently hold 20th overall and 80th overall selections.
20th sounds like a good place to take a
It
goaltender.
does. It
Does
does.
Yeah.
Um, Last year they drafted Sarkey 20th overall as well. So
Yeah.
I mean you can get a pretty solid player right around there. I mean that's still technically first round in the import draft. So and you got to think about it too. You're 20th overall in between all CHL leagues too. Not just the Western Hockey League, the OHL picks and the Quebec League picks there too. So the Chiefs are a little bit higher up on the in the WHL portion of that. So that's good news as well. And you can really get a steal in the import draft. So it's going to be interesting to see
Yeah.
what they end up doing.
No, if I'm Barnsley, I try to take a goaltender at 20.
I agree.
That's what I would do.
Why not, right?
But I'm not him.
All right, next piece of news. NHL draft this year, the Chiefs had three that were on the central scouting rankings. Only one ended up getting picked. It was Owen Martin, 92nd overall by the Jets in the third round. Um, he was ranked 54th amongst North American skaters in the final rankings. Uh, Drafted 27th overall in the 2022 prospects draft by the Chiefs. Uh, Put up a career high 34 points, 13 goals, and 21 assists, while only playing 39 games due to injury. So, I mean, nearly a point per game guy in the amount that he played this year. I think he had a great year this year, that line with Preston and Harrington.
mm-hmm. Agreed.
And so I think going to this camp with Winnipeg is really gonna to carry his game a little bit further next year too. And I'm excited to see what he's gonna end up doing. It's also pretty cool that he is drafted by the team that 20 minutes away from where he grew up in
Yep.
Alberta or in Manitoba. So that's pretty cool too. Pretty cool for his family. So that's a guy that he follows our podcast page. I'm gonna try to reach out and see if we can get him on here in the next couple of weeks too, and see if we can set something up there. Um, were you guys surprised that that was the only Chief selected?
I
Yes.
was really, yeah, I was really disappointed actually.
I was too.
Yeah.
As it
I
got
mean,
further and further on in the seventh round, I'm like, really?
yeah, the guys that didn't get drafted that we all thought would got NHL camp invites,
Right,
which is
right.
great. It's awesome. But I don't know, man. Maybe we're just biased, but I can't believe nobody took a seventh round flyer on Sarkey.
I
Me either.
agree.
Can't believe it. I can't believe it. But you know what? That's just sometimes the way it shakes out. And plenty of players have gone undrafted and have gone on to have great careers when guys that have gone drafted in the first round haven't played a second of NHL hockey. The NHL
Right.
Exactly.
draft is really weird.
Right.
Um, you
And
know,
the way that they did the draft this year is so strange too, that decentralized thing. It was such like a flop.
it was awful. I had a lot of invested interest in the first round as a Blackhawks fan.
Yeah.
And when I looked up and it was already pushing 8 p.m. and
Yeah.
we were on pick like
Dude, I know.
28.
It was crazy.
And I mean, the Hawks made a trade to get back into the first round with Carolina. I think at 27, that's where they drafted that fucking monster of a football player, hockey.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't expecting to watch high school football uh, film during an NHL
No
draft,
shit.
whatever. And they trade back in to get this kid, and I'm like pumped about it. And then I look up and it's 8 p.m. and I'm like, damn, this started at 4.
The best part of
And
that was is that they prior to the draft actually starting, they were talking about how they're doing decentralized to speed it up.
it was
And
slower.
all it did was slow it down.
Yeah, it was slower. The clock meant absolutely nothing. That 3 minute timer, you might as well have not even had it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I wasn't too impressed with the NHL draft this year. I didn't even really watch rounds second through seven.
Hmm.
Um,
I had it on, but I wasn't actively paying
yeah,
attention.
I think the Hawks had a good draft.
Yeah,
I
they
feel like
definitely
I'm
did.
I feel like I'm in the minority there of Hawks fans, but most Hawks fans are fucking stupid anyway. I can't stand half of the fan base.
They had what, 3 first round selections?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's huge.
And the prospect pool, this doesn't need to be a Blackhawks podcast, but the prospect pool is already so deep that after you draft Frondell at 3, which was a slam dunk, especially after Misa got taken, which I'm sad about. But once you
Yeah.
take Frondell at 3, you might as well shoot for the stars and draft the 6'7" Czech kid and the 6'6" hockey player quarterback out of Minnesota
Yeah. Yeah.
that,
Absolutely.
I mean, why not? And if they never play a second of NHL hockey, okay, like who cares? Like you already
Exactly.
have this incredibly deep farm system, and this goes armchair GMs that get up in arms about like, oh, this is a horrible pick or this is a bad pick. You don't fucking know.
Yeah. I agree.
I That's a big like the NHL draft of all drafts because it's a little bit different. If you watch the NFL, the NFL draft is like you're picking guys who are going to start on your team. Hockey, you don't see these, except in very rare instances, you don't see these dudes in the NHL until like 3, 4 years down the road. So
For
half the
sure.
time you forget who they are, or they just get traded somewhere else to never be heard from again. And meanwhile, like the the Swedish kid that the team picks in the 5th round at number 207 is a bad pick and is ruined the draft. Bro, what?
Yeah, no,
That's
it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I can understand potentially being a little bit upset about first round selections like that,
yeah, yeah,
but if you're gonna be complaining about, fifth, sixth, seventh round guys, when who knows, the star of your franchise could be a guy that went undrafted this year
yeah.
in 10 years. You never know. I mean, uh
So that's my complaint about the NHL draft. And it sucks too. I normally love watching it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
one of
I
my favorite things about it is the fact that they're all in this big ass room with tables and they're
Yep.
walking around and they're like, oh, Stevie Y is talking to so and so over at the Hurricanes bench or at the table. What's going to happen? Like that's
Yeah,
exciting. I feel like that's intriguing. The decentralized draft works in the NFL
it
and
doesn't work in hockey.
it works in the NFL because everyone knows who these people are.
Right.
Everyone watches college football. Or not everybody, you don't, but you know what I mean? Like a lot of if you're watching NFL, you're probably watching college football. So likely you know who these guys are.
Yeah.
In general, unless you're like way too in deep with hockey, you don't know who this 6'8" kid from Minnesota is who plays for the Fargo Force,
Yep.
much less the kid that plays at Shawinigan in the queue. Like you don't know who that is.
No.
Don't act like you do.
Especially if it's late round picks or late round
Yeah.
guys like that. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think I did hear that that was a one and done type of situation with the decentralized draft because they realized how much of a flop it was. Which is obviously good. I think having the decentralized draft immediately after the draft at the Sphere in Vegas was a terrible idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Uh, but anyway,
And it was in the shadow of the NBA draft, and the NBA draft is like this whole other thing where it's 2 rounds, but they do 1 round on one night and the other round on another night. And I mean, like 95% of NBA draft picks never play a second of NBA basketball.
yeah, I play G League or go
Yeah.
to Europe. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's better than that, I guess. So at least we got that going for us. But that was a hard watch on Friday. It took a lot out of what I usually really enjoy watching.
I went to NOLA and had a beer in the middle of it, like 13th pick in maybe.
Mhm.
Came back and it was still going.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it was super slow and they were bringing those kids into that back room to like talk to the GMs and there was a really funny moment when what's that kid that got the his name's escaping me, the Bruins 1st round pick.
Oh, Hagen's?
Yeah, Higgins. He goes back there and they had like some sort of communication issue
Yeah.
between him and the front office of the Bruins. And so these like 3 weekend at Bernie's looking motherfuckers are just sitting in this office like staring at the camera and James Higgins is like, "Hey, I'm so honored to be a Bruin. Thanks for picking me. And they're just like, yeah, we're glad that, yeah. Like, man, this poor kid's like the best, like the biggest moment of his life. And these like three old Bruins executives are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was,
No,
it was
it
weird,
was a
man.
flop, and it
It
should
was
never
weird.
happen. It should never happen
Yeah.
again like that. Final two
Uh,
notes I got, a couple other accolades from the past season. Berkeley Catton was named the what was it? CHL's Sportsman of the Year during the 2025 CHL Awards. Um, the awards given out annually to the most sportsmanlike player in the CHL. Catton is the second Chiefs player ever to earn the award, joining Pat Falloon. Um, the 19-year-old surpassed 100 points for the second consecutive season, recording 109 points and taking only 30 penalty minutes in 57 games. Catton finished third in WHL scoring, ranking 12th in goals, fourth in assists, and fifth in plus minus, all while posting a career low in penalty minutes. So, um, pretty cool. Him and Crystal were finalists for top scorer award as well. And then obviously with talking about those two guys, Crystal and Catton were honored as 24-25 CHL All-Stars. Um, Crystal made the first team overall with Michael Misa, Gavin McKenna, Zane Perrick, and Jackson Parsons and Sam Dickinson. And then the second team was Austin Elliott, Tyson Jugnoth, Luca Morelli, Nick Lardis, Hawks guy,
hey,
Ilya Protis, and Berkeley
artist fan
Catton.
here.
So pretty cool stuff there. That's pretty much all I got, boys. I think until we get some more news on the team for coming into training camp and stuff too. I don't know what else we got. Cappy's turning into a shadow over there.
I know I beat this joke like a dead horse, but the company that Crystal was keeping there, he played World Juniors for Canada, right?
Oh my
Did
god, dude! I
did
know.
he? Did he?
It's so insane. It's
Did
so
he
insane. He surely did, right? Surely.
oh man.
Uh,
Hockey Canada. That's a whole other can of worms. We could talk for hours about that organization.
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm sure some more of the same will happen next year, the World Juniors. So we'll have to wait and see with that too. You guys got anything else to add?
No,
No, not really. Dog days of baseball.
That's right. I've just been
And my
watching the
team sucks.
Mariners. The Mariners
So
just cleaned up the Royals 6-2. So,
yeah.
nice.
Cappy, it's good to have you back.
Good to be back.
You only missed one episode.
That's not bad.
That's pretty damn good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and it was a really sad episode. We were pretty sad. Pretty
I'm sorry.
bummed.
This is true. We were sad.
It was a sad episode.
It was also our longest episode, but it was very sad.
The moratorium on the 2024-2025 season,
Yeah, that's okay.
in which they exceeded all expectations but come up
They
short.
did.
But
They did.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
nonetheless, it's good to have you back, and we look forward
Good
to,
good
to
be
many more.
back.
And we'll catch up with you boys later.
All right.
All right, go Chiefs, go.
The Chiefs goes.
Let's go.
Till next time.
Yes, sir.